Hi everyone, Miss Lauren here. I am so excited to be with you on Fun Friday this week, and especially this Fun Friday, July 3rd, because today is Hamilton Day. Now, when Hamilton, an American musical, opened on Broadway 5 years ago in 2015, I was a freshman in high school and I was just a little bit obsessed with the show. So having the chance to go back and re-examine this piece of theater and cultural history 5 years later, now that I'm going into my second year of college, has been super interesting and, if anything, has made me appreciate Hamilton that much more. If you're familiar with the show, amazing. If Hamilton is new to you, then you have picked the perfect time to get to know this show, as it is now streaming in full on Disney+. Seeing a full Broadway show is worth that $7, you guys, I promise. But if you know the show, you know that one of the biggest themes in the show is time. So, in the spirit of time, and what a great time it is to talk about this show, I wanted to take a quick look at how each of the original creatives of Hamilton played with time as they developed this show. So, if we're going to talk about Hamilton the musical, there's only one person that we can start with. And no, I'm not talking about Hamilton himself. I'm of course talking about Lin Manuel Miranda. Lin is credited with writing both the book and the lyrics for Hamilton. The show is mostly sung or rapped the whole way through, so every famous quote or line from the show that you've ever heard, Lin wrote. Lin first got the idea to write a rap musical about the $10 founding father by reading this book by renowned historian Ron Chernow. If you love Hamilton, I cannot recommend this book enough. It's not exactly a quick read, but it's worth it. Now, while most of the words in the show are Lin Manuel Miranda's, he did infuse some primary historical documents throughout some of the music. For example, George Washington's farewell address or pieces of the Reynolds pamphlet. But in order to take Hamilton, a man who lived in the 18th century, and bring him into the 21st century, Lin packed this show full of references to modern artists, especially in the hip-hop and rap communities. So to give you an example of what I'm talking about, I'm going to play you a piece of one of the most popular songs from the show, My Shot. So now I'm going to play you a song that was released back in 1998. It's called Going Back to Cali, and it's performed by the Notorious B.I.G. So hopefully you can see what I'm talking about there. There are also references to a lot of other musicals throughout Hamilton, including South Pacific, The Pirates of Penzance, and The Last 5 Years. So all of these parallels that Lin wrote into the book are actually explicitly credited in the Hamilton playbill, which I think is pretty cool. Now moving on to the orchestrator and original music director of Hamilton, Alex Lacamoire. When Alex Lacamoire was writing the score for Hamilton, he knew he wanted to bring some 18th century instruments in to be performed live every night. Some of these instruments include a string quartet and a hammered dulcimer. Look that up. But in order to bring Hamilton into the now, he mixed 10 live pit musicians with some pre-recorded hip-hop beats. There's also some more subtle musical references in Alex Lacamoure's score. For example, throughout the song You'll Be Back, which is sung by King George in a very posh, British, poppy way, Alex Lacamoire composed some little moments that might be similar to a popular British boy group, if you listen close enough. So the choreographer of Hamilton, Andy Blankenbuehler, created this very specific idiosyncratic language of movement for the show, and honestly, it's the thing that I'm most excited about seeing on screen today. So when you get the chance to watch, you'll see moments of sweeping partnering that's very reminiscent of an 18th century ball, but you'll also see movement that is deeply inspired by legendary choreographers Jerome Robbins and Bob Fosse, with some serious influence of several different hip-hop styles. Blankenbuehler has even said in interviews that the choreography of this show moves almost like a ballet, in that it is constantly moving and it is deeply rooted in telling the story. Another one of the most beautiful things about Hamilton are its amazing Tony Award-winning costumes designed by Paul Tazwell. He brought Hamilton and his friends to life through their clothes, using 18th century lines, silhouettes, and details like corsets, bustles, and waistcoats. But he used modern materials and a somewhat somewhat neutral color palette that's very on trend for the 21st century. These two eras of fashion that Tazwell pulled from meet to form these stunning Tony Award-winning costumes that could exist really nowhere else other than on the Hamilton stage, which I personally think is the sign of a really, really talented designer. Speaking of talented designers, David Corns designed the set of Hamilton. He was inspired by materials that you would see on an old ship. He implemented the famous turntables that have become synonymous with the show. They are definitely something that separate the set of Hamilton the musical from actual places Alexander Hamilton himself would have walked. He designed it this way so that the set can simultaneously serve as the streets of New York, the Battle of Yorktown, and even the Constitutional Convention. As Rowan mentioned in her set design video, you might say that this set is more abstract. So the lighting designer of Hamilton, Howell Binkley, also won a Tony Award for his work on the show. Something unique about Binkley's lighting design is that the lighting rig, or the place where most of the lights hang, is fully visible to the audience, serving as a reminder that while this is Hamilton's story, you are still sitting in a Broadway theater in the 21st century. However, if you watch during the number Satisfied, these gorgeous lanterns fly in to set the mood for an 18th century wedding reception. So there's still some lighting that is very indicative of the real Alexander Hamilton's world. Some people that I find to be very underappreciated in theater, and especially in Hamilton, are its sound designers. The sound designer of Hamilton, Nevin Steinberg, created this dynamic, unprecedented sound design that, like reality, has both moments of explosiveness and also dead silence, which really helps us place ourselves in Hamilton's shoes. He did this by using modern concert-grade speakers that are placed all around the theater, even underneath the audience's feet. Steinberg also made some more aesthetic sound design choices that really help us hear Hamilton in the 21st century, such as giving the Founding Fathers handheld mics during the rap battle, so that Thomas Jefferson can give us a proper mic drop. So I hope that all of the little details that I just mentioned about Hamilton can help you view the movie this weekend through a closer lens, and really appreciate just how crucial every single choice these creatives made was to help build this show that revolutionized theater. Theater is definitely reflective of the time in which the story is set, but what these choices help me see is that theater isn't a museum, and in many ways it should also be reflective of the world in which the audience is living in. Thank you all so much for joining me on this fun Friday, and to help wrap up another week of daily free online content here at KYT. I miss you all so much, and I can't wait to see you soon. Enjoy Hamilton and have an amazing weekend, you guys.